Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So I have been trying to record this video all morning and I'm like, you know what? It's the elites. So yeah, I blame them for everything. So anyway, something was on my mind today. The other day I went to look at model homes. So you guys know that in my spare time, one thing that I do for fun is go to model homes. I am a realtor. I'm inactive right now, but I'm a licensed realtor. And one thing that I really love to do, even though I can't sell houses right now because of my actual job, but I love going to model homes. I love looking at the architecture, the rooms, the way they design it, the decor. Like, it's just fun to me. It's a lot of fun. Now, the house that I went to, it's called a next gen house. And what that means is it's a house within a house. So back in the day, they used to call it the mother-in-law suite. And what it is basically like a living room. You have a kitchenette, like area, you have your own bathroom, sometimes you even have a wash and dryer, and so you have that within the house. So the house has its own living room and all those things. So it's like a house within a house, and it's amazing if you want to have like your mom come live with you, your dad, but they have their own space, but they're so close to you. I like when I went to go see it, I was like, man, my mom passed away, and I was like, man, I wish I did that for my mom, because she was older when she had my brother and I. And so when she passed away, she was, you know, older in age, and she was still working, which she loved to work. I think it gave her something, you know, that to kind of keep going. But I was just thinking like, man, I wish I did that when she was alive. And so I started thinking to myself, like, you know what? It's so funny that these kind of houses are becoming more popular now, because when I was a kid, the propaganda was, okay, when you're 18, move out, get your own, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, what are you doing? You're 19, you're 20, you still live with your parents. Now, because of the economy, a lot of people live with their parents. But back in the day, when I was growing up, it was like, if you live with your parents, like, that was like, you guys remember that song by TLC, Scrubs? I don't want no scrub, right? If you live at home with your mama. Remember, it was like a whole thing. You cannot be living at home with your mom or your dad, you know, at a certain age. Now, let me say, I think that every person should be able to take care of themselves. This does not erase any of that. I still stand firm on that. But one thing I was thinking about is how other cultures, if you go overseas, the way they live is very different than America, okay? They live multi-generational in one household. So you have grandma, you have the parents, you have the kids, and sometimes even the extended family, like the aunts and uncles. Everybody lives in the same house. And if they don't live on the same house, they live on the same land, and everybody has their own house, right? And I was just thinking like, man, like propaganda from back in the day, it was all move out, have your own, which is good, right, to a certain extent. But I think what it also did was create division, right? So you're over there, everybody's doing their own thing. And so I think it was probably promoted because of money. Everything comes back to money, it seems like. So if everyone has their own house, guess what everyone has? Mortgage, with interest, with electricity bills, with water bills, right? And then also, we have to pay taxes. So instead of having one house, you have everybody lives in it, contributes. Now you have 10 houses, everybody's paying for everything individually, right? You have everybody's getting taxed, right? And I was just like, man, I think greed kind of made this propaganda where it's like, you go over there, I go over here. You know what I mean? Like, now grandma doesn't live up the street, grandma lives in another state, right? And then when you actually have a family and you need that community, you need your family members to help. And, you know, it used to be a more of a community thing when you have family, when you give birth, you know. Now we have to pay for community, right? And what I mean by that is we have to pay for childcare. We have to pay for all these things that was already ingrained, but now we've been brainwashed that you go over there, you stick to yourself, you know. So I was just thinking, like, man, now the whole next gen houses are coming where people are living together. And even nowadays, since the economy is kind of crazy, you have a lot of adults, grown-ups, living with their parents, right? And I was just thinking, maybe we need to go back to being more of a community with each other, right? Helping each other. So one thing that I was very fortunate is my kid's mom lived across the street from me. So she was able to watch our babies, even though we weren't together. She was able to watch our babies, and she was right there. My mom, when she was living, she was down the street. My brother was, you know, so it was, no one was too far, right? But what if, like, we had this whole compound, right? We had one land, one taxes, right? You have a huge land, one taxes, and everybody have a house on the land, you know. And I was just thinking, maybe that will help even people, because a lot of people now say they're lonely and they don't see people and they just want to have more of human interaction. And I'm like, well, maybe we need to figure out how to come back to that. So that's just something that was on my mind real quick. What do you guys think? Like, do you think that it could work? Because I know sometimes I know there's a lot of conversation about no contact with family members, because I know people could be toxic. I'm not disregarding that. That's a whole other thing. So you could be toxic and all that. So I don't know. I was just trying to think, like, man, we need to build more community within our families, because a lot of times families don't talk to each other, and I know there's a lot of growth there and different traumas that folks have to get over, and not get over, but heal from. But yeah, that kind of just led me down a path, like, dang, I remember. And now it's kind of coming full circle where people are living together. You have more multi-generational living in one household. And I just thought it was interesting. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
The one thing that nobody seems to tell you is that as a country becomes more and more developed, the one thing that gets eroded is community.
Yeah.
The village disappears.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is you have to buy the village back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You have to buy the house.
You
buy a
literally,
house,
you have to
keep it,
buy
yeah.
somebody to look after your kid. You have to buy somebody to help you clean your house. You have to buy somebody to help you
Cook,
fix your...
yeah.
The same village that they tricked you into not having. Like, I'm always amazed at the con of it all. This machine, this larger thing, told everyone, you should get your own house and you should live by yourselves. How can you still live with your parents in the same house? This is ridiculous. What? And so everyone goes off, they get their own house to live by themselves. They have a kid. And now you need somebody to come and look after the kid, but they can't just come a few. If you know what, you should get a bigger house. They could live with you. You could have a live-in nanny.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, they call that an aunt.
Or a sister.
They call that a grandmother.
Grandma.
In the West, that's one of the biggest things I've realized. Is every time people bring up statistics of how birth rates are declining in the West, I'm amazed at how people never seem to want to talk about the fact that the West doesn't encourage people to have kids. And what I mean by encourage is not telling people to do it, but encouraging is facilitating, I think, in many
The
ways.
idea that we need our kids to leave the house and be totally independent by around the age of 18.
Telling kids to leave home at 18 is one of the most successful psyops of modern life, pushed by central banks so that every family member can pay their own car, furniture, utilities, mortgage, and just like that, 10 people are plugged into the system. Add in student debt and you're drowning before you've even started life. But here's what they don't want you to know. Families that stay together can build businesses, share costs, and grow generational wealth. And when the family unit breaks, each generation starts from zero financially, emotionally, and spiritually. That's not freedom. It's a setup and it's by design.
We live in the kind of culture that is perfect for a consumer economy, not for healthy, thriving, multi-generational families. And I wonder why.
To the pot of money that covers the food and covers the
housekeeper and covers the groundskeeper and covers the utilities.
The story behind this mansion is just about as stunning as the home itself.
I built this house not just for my immediate family, but for my extended family, including friends.
Reggie Van Lee was a performer in the Alvin Ailey Dance Company. The Harvard graduate recently retired as an executive vice president at a Houston consulting firm. He moved out of his home in River Oaks after building this 20,000 square foot estate for himself, his 3 sisters, and their families.
There's a hair salon for my sisters. The pool is for the grandkids.
That's why the 59-year-old says he built this house so their family could make many memories together.
As much as people say, oh, that's so nice of you to do this for your sisters, they have no idea the joy I get myself.
Well, this is my favorite room.
It's a small church inside the house. This wing sort of resembles a fancy apartment building hallway. Here you'll find doors that lead to private living quarters.
Our front door is red. We each have a kitchen. We have a living room. We have a washer-dry area. And we have 2 bedrooms, 1 master and a guest. And then each of those have bathrooms, separate bathrooms.
You arrive at the master suite on a separate side of the home.
And in 1976, this little black boy from Sunnyside said, I'd like to have a family compound someday. We all contribute to the pot of money that covers the food and covers the housekeeper and covers the groundskeeper and covers the utilities.
They're talking about it in hopes of encouraging other families to follow suit, even if on a smaller scale.
I think other people should do that. I think if we did more of that, we'd have more happiness in the world and a lot less tension.